And God sent his prophet to her. And not only did God send his prophet to her, but God commanded her. He told Elijah, I've commanded a widow to feed you. But when Elijah gets to the gate and he finds her gathering the sticks and he says to her, bring the water, he doesn't say, by the way, say, if you don't mind, if you're not too busy, would you please bring me some water? He just gives her a command and he says, bring me some water. How does he get away with bossing her around like that? How do you react to being given orders? Well, us men probably not so good. Wives are used to it, probably. But anyhow, I don't respond well to taking orders. I never did. That's why I didn't make the military my career. But he told her, give me some water. Bring me some water in a vessel to drink. And she didn't object. She went along with it. She had to. It was a cultural thing. In that culture, anybody demanding water had to share it. Now, she could probably go to a public well, a common well. She could probably draw some water out, bring back in. No real skin off her nose. It just kind of delays the time that she's going to get started baking her loaf of bread. And so she turns, going to get the water. But before she gets very far, Elijah then adds to it and commands her and says, and bring me a morsel of bread in your hand to eat. That's too much. The water wouldn't cost her anything except a little time. But the bread, hey, she's down to her last meal. So she turns on him. She gets right in his face. And in a manner of speaking, she says, you have no right to ask anything of me. I'm a widow. I'm down to my last loaf of bread. I'm going to eat that and die. So back off. Go find somebody else to ask a gift from. Go find somebody who's got it. I don't have it. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's a dangerous way to talk. I don't have anything to give. Remember what Jesus said in the parable of the householder about the talents? One guy brought back the talents and says, here's your talent back again. I was afraid of you, so I didn't do anything with it like you wanted me to. And Jesus said, take that talent away from him. Give it to the servant who got 10. For to him who has, more will be given. But to him who has not, even what he has will be taken from him. What does that mean? Is that talking about faith, or is that talking about material possessions? And the answer is yes. It's talking about both. Faith and material possessions. If you think you've got not enough for yourself, you're probably going to be, according to your selfish, sinful human nature, thinking, don't ask me to give anything. I don't have enough. I got to hang on to every little bit I've got. But that is not faith talking, that's fear talking. Faith says, yeah, I don't have much, but I'll share what I got. Jesus says, to him who has, more will be given, but to him who has not, even what he has will be taken from him. That means that none of us better ever dare not to have something to give. Because if we think we don't have anything to give, we're on the verge of having everything taken from us. So warning. You mean God really wants poor people who are barely scraping along on a fixed income? God wants them to give just like he expects the people who have regular jobs with income to be giving? We need to give. Because giving is a display of faith. When we give, we are saying, I have a God I pray to every day. And I pray, give me this day my daily bread. And my God is not a God who just dies on the cross to pay for my sins so that when I die I'll go to heaven, which is probably going to be soon because I'm losing my job and my 401k is crashed. No, the real God, the true God, cares about you, soul and body. As a matter of fact, he's promised to you the resurrection from the dead. Your body's going to be raised imperishable and immortal and glorified. He cares about your flesh. When the disciples asked him, teach us to pray, Jesus said, pray about the stuff you need for your body. Give us this day our daily bread. Our God cares about your earthly, material needs. We confess in the Apostles' Creed, the first article, which we read last week, in the meaning, I believe that God has given me my body and soul, eyes, ears, and all my members, my reason, all my senses, and still preserves them. Also clothing, shoes, meat, drink, house and home, wife and children, fields, cattle, and all my goods. That he richly and daily provides me with all that I need to support this body in life. God is supplying earthly material things to us. Yesterday I had a woman in my home for just a few minutes, member of this congregation. She owned an extremely profitable business here in town. And the whole thing just collapsed with the economy. Went bankrupt, lost the business, lost their home. They couldn't make payments. They lost their home. Did she die? Did she starve? God continued to provide for her. She's got a roof over her head. Her children are being fed. She's got a smile on her face, and she's making a meager living now. She's not making the big bucks that she once made, but she's living. We might say, well, the only life I want to live is the one where I'm making the big bucks. Well, that may or may not be the plan of your God for you. Sometimes God lets us live close to the bone. I talked to a group of people over at Hannah Wolf the other day when we did our Bible study on Friday. And many of them lived through the Great Depression. And I know things are tough now, but believe me, things were even tougher then. Stock market crashed in 29, and things didn't really start to recover until early 40s when World War II began. And in the meantime, life was tough for those people. You know what they said to me? I was trying to get them to tell me about how awful their lives were during the Depression. They said, we're all in it together. And we really didn't upset us so much. We managed to get along, you know. We either made do or we did without, you know. But we got along. We survived. I'm thinking to myself, yeah. Now that I think about it, when I went to Africa,